Hi, and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. It is June 18th, 2016, and school is out. Yesterday was the last day of school. Summer is officially kicked off here in Virginia, and I am pumped. Come with me on a garden tour. I'll show you what's growing on. I would jump off the ladder, but I'd probably break my ankle, and that's not a good way to get the summer started, right? So let me take you over here to the watermelon patch. And this is basically just 3 plants here, okay, all black diamond variety. And what I have here is what I believe is a watermelon that was pollinated. And you can see the baby fruit right there, the watermelon. So this is a female flower. Plenty of other male flowers all over the place here. Found another female flower that had opened up this morning. I believe it was down over here somewhere. Yeah, you can see the size difference right here, the baby little fruit right there. So this one's just opened up this morning. Look what little size that fruit is. Now, so this will hopefully get pollinated. I hand pollinated it just a couple minutes ago. But then you take a look at this one and see how much bigger it is. So I believe that these petals are closing up. This has been pollinated because it's swelled up a lot more than what you just saw over there. So I believe, at least one watermelon growing. All right, so let me take you over here. A few days ago, my wife and we harvested all the sweet onions from the garden. And this was just all grown in a 4x8 bed of onions that I planted late last summer, early fall. They're out here curing and drying. We had a little bit of rain, so it's going to take a couple more days to dry off and everything. This is an Italian variety. Looks like a mushroom. But the rest are just sweet onions. And I mean, look at the size of these things. You know, these are really huge. And these are like store-bought size. So a lot of this is just because of growing in, starting them in late summer, early fall, and then letting them grow over wintertime and do their thing, and you'll get a much bigger onions. Okay, so going over here to the apple trees, not a whole lot going on this year. I did have a few apples here in my Fuji apple tree, but fire blight, which is a disease, took over, and I'm still carving and cutting out fire blight whenever I see it. So I had to cut out, unfortunately, I had to cut out the apples that were in the tree because fire blight had taken over in that area and was making the apples mushy. Now, my Jonathan apple tree looks pretty sick. It was at the nursery for over a year, just sitting in a pot and everything, and I got it on a little bit of a sale. So it's not the healthiest looking thing, but I do have one apple growing on it. You know, so one little Jonathan apple. My Honeycrisp over there is actually doing pretty well. I still got to do a lot of pruning come this fall, but there's no fruit on it this year, but it's growing pretty good. Taking you over to my, I guess you would call it the pride and joy of my harvest. As you can see, inside my bird netting, I have tons and tons and tons of blueberries. Okay, and I gotta get out here and start getting them. I have no bird issues because I built this frame a couple years ago and put this large 28 by 28 foot netting over it, and I weigh it down at the bottom, and I wrap up some spare PVC pipes, some scraps, and I wrap it up, and it keeps the birds from pushing underneath. As you can see, the bees are buzzing around a little bit, and I'm definitely afraid of those. Yeah, so I'm a gardener, but I'm definitely afraid of them anyways. There's nothing in there for them to pollinate. All the flowers are done for that. But at the bottom, what I've done this year is I've added some layer of leaves down there in the bottom of each one of the pots for the blueberries to help feed the soil. And you put down layers of wood chips, or if you put down layers of leaves, that'll slowly break down over time and start to feed the microbes and the worms in the soil and then they will turn around and put their own natural fertilizer in the soil for you. So it saves on watering, it saves on weeds that you have to pull, and it helps to feed your soil and feed the microbes. You feed the microbes, you feed the soil. So it's a win-win situation. Now, the blackberries over here have been kind of hit and miss. Got some varieties that have did better this year and others that have not produced so much. And in fact, I was just out here a little while ago, and I swore I heard when my back was turned, a bird swooped in and snagged a blackberry off of one of the things, and snapped and took off flying real quick before I can turn around and realize what happened. But I heard it, and I'm like, so these birds are pretty brazen around here. But you can see I put a layer of mulch, wood chips down on top of this to conserve on the water, and I use a cypress wood. I don't want to use cedar wood because I have apple trees, and if you're using cedar wood, you run the possibility of apple cedar rust disease get to your apple trees. So I just try to avoid that. Like I said, you can see this tree, these parts of it have, you got the red, these are blackberries, they just haven't gotten to the ripening stage yet. And you can see the new growth right here, this tall, healthy green stuff right here. This is next year's fruiting wood. This year's, it's fruiting on this wood, and when that's all done, I prune that out down to soil level. And then all this new growth will be fruiting next year. So you want to leave that, let it overwinter, and it'll put on fruit for you next year. So you get your fruiting wood producing for you and your next year's wood canes all going at the same time. So that's blackberries are one of the easiest things to grow and take care of. You just mainly these are things of birds. That's always the thing. Strawberry plants, they're not doing too bad. I mean, these were bare root. Let's see if I can find a good strawberry in here. I don't know, this wasn't too many to begin with, but I wasn't expecting really any at all. But anywho, you can see a little flower in there, but a lot of healthy growth, so I'm happy with that. The grapevines over here, these are my new addition to the garden. They're suffering right now between, I think, powdery mildew, and also you can see the skeletonizing of the, excuse me folks, you see that critter right there? Yeah, he's the reason why I have so much issues. So he's got to go. So Saranara buggy. Japanese beetles, one of the worst things, right? They just, if any of you guys got any ideas or tips how to get rid of those things, please let me know, all right? Because they're just skeletonizing my grapevines. And you can see I got powdery mildew right there on that, all that white stuff, powdery mildew. So I got a lot of that going on. Goji berry plants. This is one of the ones that suffered from rabbits over the wintertime, cut it back to a nub. It's slowly coming back. It's struggling to survive. But on my other goji berry plant over here, I actually have 3 of them. I do want to show you something we found in the garden a couple days ago. And that is flower buds right here. You can see these little flower buds on there. There's not that many, but the little round bulbs like this right there. And so those are going to be producing some beautiful little small purple flowers, and they're self-pollinating. And goji berries are supposed to be one of the most highly nutritious foods, even more than blueberries, in the whole world. So got that. Got a couple sunflower buds over there. Wife likes those, so I put them in to keep her happy. Keeps me out of the doghouse for a little bit. This is my Owari Matsuma mandarin orange tree. It's still hanging on. I'm hoping that sometime it's going to start to grow a little bit more. It suffered a little bit of a late frost, and it took whatever fruit it had in some of the leaves, but the rest of it hung on. As you could probably see, the ones that were a little bit closer to the ground suffered a little bit more than the ones that were higher up because cold air sinks, so maybe that was the reason why. So I don't know when it grows or when it starts to put out new growth, but it's hanging on and still surviving. So that's good. Now, this was the bed right here. This was the bed that had the onions in them. And so what I did is I had some leftover leaves that my wife and I collected late fall last year. Just going along the streets, and people had their bags out there to be disposed of. Like, this is free resources. So we grabbed a couple bags and everything, and I laid this down. And probably within the next maybe 3 weeks, I'll be putting a couple pumpkin plants in here that I'm going to start from seeds. In fact, I'll probably start those in the next day or so just to get them growing. And then put them in here, and then I'll have to protect them and everything. But this layer of mulch of leaves will be breaking down over the whole season and through winter and everything, and keep the soil healthy, and so it cuts down. Here's my other goji berry plant right here. It's needs some pruning, but it's struggling, and it's trying to fight its way back. Don't know if I'll get any fruit off of it this season, but maybe. So over here to the last thing in the garden, this is I guess my more productive area of things, more busy area. I have two, these are cucumber plants. I'm trying to think of the variety of them. These are Armenian yard-long cucumbers. So these cucumbers will get to about 2 to 3 feet in length. And don't worry about that because the seeds still stay pretty small. They're not that, and the skin, you don't have to worry about peeling them or anything. They taste just fine. I'm not a huge fan of cucumbers, but I mean, I do enjoy this, and my wife and a couple of the other kids, they like them. So I keep growing them and everything. And so I'm training them up the trellis, and they're putting out their other little vines and going all over the place, so that's doing good. I'm trying to keep them a little bit away because, you know, I got some pepper plants in there, and they're trying to get growing good. And as you can see, maybe down in here, this is getting shaded out a lot because of the cucumber plants. You know, it's got some starting to flower and everything, and it's going to have to get a little taller. I might have to come in and prune off some of these leaves of the cucumber plant to allow more sunlight in here because it's definitely blocking it. I've got some oregano in here. Okay, this was a volunteer plant from last year. More pepper plants. You can see this pepper plant's not doing so great because it's being shaded a lot. And really, I should have these plants in their own little separate area so they can get as much sunlight as possible. Again, you can see these beautiful sunflower plants here, putting on 3 heads, are blooming right now. So the wife is happy about that. And if we go around to the other side, where there's a little less congestion, I'm just looking to see as I go on to see if there's any female cucumber flowers. I don't see any right now. That's okay. There might be some hiding in there somewhere, or they're just, the males are usually laying down the groundwork to try to attract the pollinators. Now, through here, my green bean plants, you see there's some of the peppers and everything, and I had to put this pole in here, PVC pipe, to get the green beans. These are a bush variety, to get them back as they were spreading through here, and I wanted the sunlight to get on these pepper plants. So I know there are some green beans in here. I saw some the other day. Here's another pepper plant here. That's another reason why. Let's see if I can, well, here we go, right here. So here's some green beans growing, and they're all kind of just hanging in there. You move a leaf or whatever, and then you'll find some more green beans. Like here's another little small batch of green beans right here. These are getting closer to the time to pick those off of there. And they say the more that you harvest, the more they keep on producing. Okay, so I've had some bugs out here chewing on them. Here's some more flowers of the green beans right here. So that's kind of gives you an idea what they look like. And oh, look at some of these green beans right here, you know. So they're pretty much everywhere. You do look, you pull up a leaf, or you move a leaf, and you know you got 2 or 3 or 4, you know, green beans there. So maybe we'll get a small pot here in the next couple days. Like I said, you can see that bugs are really eating on these leaves, and I haven't yet to come up with a good solution to keeping these things out of here, whatever it is that's eating them. So anyways, got some, oh, look at the beautiful flowers on the Thai basil here, these purple flowers. So that's kind of going to seed, and usually what I do is I pick them off of there, because that way it encourages more growth of the leaves, and that's what you want to do. So when you see on your basil plants you got these flowers, you want to get them off of there, and you want to prolong the life of your basil. So just prune them off, pinch them off, and that way, you know, you'll be good to go. Okay, it'll keep on producing for you a little bit longer. And oh, this smell is just beautiful. Now I pruned this back. This is another Thai basil. I pruned that back a couple weeks ago, and it's coming back. It's shaded a lot by the sunflower and everything. So, but this smells like a black licorice anisey, and it just smells so good. It's good on a lot of foods. And I say, last but certainly not least, is my tomato plants. And my wife and I, we had to put over a bird netting, because the birds are, like I said, they're just awful. They take everything from you, all the hard work and labor, and they just come in like a bunch of freeloaders, and they just help themselves. So we put a net down, and we'll have to adjust it as time goes by, as the plants get taller. And but it's the only thing you can really do to protect your tomatoes from those birds, because they come in and they peck holes in them, and they don't even wait for them to get ripe anymore. They when they start to turn just a little bit, they'll come back. You got half of a tomato hanging there, because they've gone and pecked the holes to take the juice out. Well, so that's what's basically growing on in the garden. You know, right now I'm just doing a little bit of harvesting here and there of blueberries and stuff like that, and a little bit of peppers here and there. The onions are in. So I got some things harvesting, some things are growing, some things I'm waiting to see what they're going to do, like the mandarin orange tree. So, you know, there's just a lot of good things going on and everything. So I'm hoping that this wood mulch and leaves are going to be an extra benefit for the plants and everything. And if I could pass on maybe one other little tip on your tomatoes. When you are growing tomatoes, you want to keep, if you lay down leaves and mulch, that's going to help not only keep the weeds down, but it's going to help keep the soil-borne diseases from splashing up on your leaves, because you get blight all the time, and that just takes over and just really ruins your plants. So in order to combat that, you want to lay down a layer of mulch or leaves around your tomato plants to keep the rain and everything from splashing the funguses and diseases up onto your leaves. The other thing to do to help minimize blight from even getting involved in your plants is cutting away any leaves and branches of your tomato plants that are hanging low to the ground, because again, that splashes up on those leaves, the blight takes hold, it spreads to everything else in your plants. So, you know, I got some tomatoes going on here. Don't know when some will be ripe here, but things are going pretty good, and I'm looking forward to having a nice slice of tomato on a sandwich with a big old slice of onion. Waiting for it. All right, from Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. Catch you later. If you got any comments or questions, post them down below. Thank you.